Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Somebody sent me the video about the young lady whose daughter lost her life at the hands of her partner. Now, it kept saying her partner, so I'm assuming it was the lady's girlfriend. And it was it's an African-American lady, looks like, and she was dating a white lady. And they, I'm guessing, were in a relationship, and the lady went to work and left her daughter, 4.5-month-old daughter, home with her partner or babysitter or whoever she was. And the lady basically took the life of the 4.5-month-old by taking out her stress and anger on this 4.5-month-old. And it just goes to show how many, and unfortunately, like, this child did not make it. It's a lot of people who have gone through things at the hands of someone that their parents left them with, and they are still living with everything that comes with that. And this is something to think about. And this is why I always mention this, because I understand this and I have seen it and been around it and know how this works. And I feel like so many parents, sometimes you get to a place to where you just at your wit's end and you just want some help. And you will leave your child with someone thinking just, you can't possibly imagine that something could happen. And it just always seems that something happens. And then now the parent has to live with the regret and just the blame and the shame and everything that comes with that, because they feel like they put their child in harm's way. And when the person who did it, they do it in a fit of rage, almost like a blackout state, or just not processing the repercussions, not processing what can happen, and feeling inadequate and feeling like they can't get the baby to stop crying and to be quiet, to go to sleep, and just not knowing how to handle that, and then filled with their own issues and rage and hate. And now the news said she left the baby with her partner. And it was her partner of, I don't know if they said 4 months or something like that. And that the lady who took the life of the baby was in the bed next to her while the baby laid there lifeless. And then the daughter came home from work and saw that the baby, it looked like the baby had bruises. And then when she cut the light on and actually looked at her, she seen bruises all over. And that's something to think about. And I wanted to make this video just to speak to the parents, especially like the single parents. And if you have a child, I want you to understand that this is far more common than you realize. And you are not even 100% safe when your child is with their biological parent. For one, you can lose your mind, but then two, the other parent can lose their mind. And a lot of people will not admit this, but you have to think about if you've ever been to a place where you went too far and you got a little too out of control with your own. And if this is your biological, especially your biological child, then imagine how much easier it is for anyone else. And now, if you've never gotten out of control or even come close to it, I want you to understand that you are not all that common. Like, you are rare. You are different. That is not the norm. A lot of parents go to a point that it could really do damage, and for a long time. And so you have to understand, and the parents who never come close to it, it's typically because of what they experienced growing up, and they don't want their child to have any feeling of the sort. And so you got to be mindful of this, because there's so many women that are single moms and have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a brother or an uncle or cousin or whoever watching their child, and it's a risk. And in certain situations like this one, there is no do-over. So you got to be mindful of this. You can only do what you can do. You got to be as resourceful as possible, but you got bills to pay. You got to go to work. So you have to thoroughly vet the situation. And at the least, if you can't afford a real camera, real nanny cams, get the fake cameras off of Amazon for $3, $4, $5 and put them up in the corners of the house and say, hey, listen, I put these cameras here just for my own assurance. I'm not trying to spy on you or anything, but a lot happens. And even if you happen to fall asleep or what have you, and the baby go to crawling or doing something, or I want to be able to see, so that then at least the person who is watching knows. And when you in a relationship, and this is why I try to tell y'all all the time, you should not be in a relationship if your child is under the age of 5. If the relationship you was in that got you pregnant, that had you a baby, or if you the man and you got your child, if your child is under the age of 5, you should not be in a relationship where the person you talking to is with your child alone. Under no circumstance. I don't care how lonely you is, how horny you are, how bored you are, how desperate you are. You got pregnant, you had a baby. Do not be in a relationship. And just like this young lady, she will not get a do-over. And now what happens? One thing leads to another. So yes, they call the police. The lady get the police call on her. She in jail. She probably gonna do years, if not life, for what she did. She is Caucasian, so you never know if that's gonna play a role in the courts and if she's gonna get a lenient sentence. There's been countless studies done on how people of color get harsher sentences for the same charges as people who are not of color. So she may get, and she's a woman, and so women are sentenced less harshly than men. So not only is she a woman, she's also a white woman. So it's no telling how much time she's gonna get. I met a white male who took the life of 2 men while he was driving, not under the influence, but he was driving and texting. And he had to do no time. He didn't have to do any time. He had to do community service, 1,000 hours of community service, because he was young. But they was all the same race. He was a white guy, and the 2 guys that lost their life was white guys too. So, but that was kind of crazy to me, because I was like, wow, I could not imagine me being a black man in the South. If I took the life of 2 men because I'm driving and texting, I cannot imagine just having 1,000 hours of community service. That's a real sweet deal, other than him having to live with what happened. But the way humans are, and a human not going to stay down and out and distraught over a mistake that we made. We going to move on. We going to get over stuff. But in most cases, but in this situation here, this lady, she don't get a do-over. And however her and this lady ended up, it also go to show you, because a lot of women have the mentality that if they were with a man and the man was like no good and he was, toxic, abusive, whatever, a lot of women think that being with a woman, their life gonna be better. And I've seen that growing up. I had so many friends and family members who would be with a man and get dogged out and then go get a woman, and then come to find out the same thing happened with a woman, because a woman is a human too. And so where here we seeing these men who are boyfriends get overly aggressive with their girlfriend, son or daughter, and take the life of their girlfriend, son or daughter. I remember watching a man who on the news, and he had took the life of a 4-year-old boy, I think. And then you also see the countless cases of where the woman and the man take and rip and take the life of the woman's child, and the woman is in on it. So, these real topics, and this the type of stuff I like to address and touch on, but I will tell y'all, YouTube playing with my channel, so I have to be careful with the words that I'm saying and stuff like that, because they trying to play with the channel and stuff. So they keep trying to put like little strikes on it just for words that I'm saying. So you got to read between the lines when I'm kind of skipping around stuff. And there's something to think about. So you have to be mindful, and you got to realize that when you have children, it's no longer about you. It don't matter what you want to do, how you feeling. It's about your child. Because as an adult, you laid on your back and you brought a child into the world. So now it ain't about your comfort. It ain't about your convenience. It's about your child. And me personally, if I was a single parent, I would be concerned with going to a site like care.com. But a lot of times you safer with a stranger who done did a background check, who come into the house, and you let them know you got cameras all around. They less likely to get comfortable and to get beside themselves and to do something crazy, because they know you don't care for them, you don't love them, this strictly business, and that you watching them like a hawk. Whereas when you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a family member or a friend, they could get comfortable and get beside themselves and think that what they do, they're going to get away with it, and that they'll never get found out, especially if your child is beneath the age of articulation and can't express what happened. And then what you also have to remember is that a lot of children, even who can speak and articulate, still won't tell, because of the manipulation that came from the adult who said, if you tell, I'm going to do this or do that to your mom or your dad, or I'm gonna do this or do that to you. And that child don't know the difference. Like, they don't know what a bluff is. They don't know what a threat is. Everything is real. Everything is reality. It's the truth. It's all facts, no fiction. And so to that child don't know. So you got to realize and understand this and really process that this is life. And this is what comes with it. Like, if that is your lot in life, that's your lot in life. And you got to do what you got to do. And if you got a mother or a father, a brother or a sister that you trust with your life, send them this video. And that's honestly what my wife has done over the years. Me personally, I'm more open to like a care.com or something like that. But because of stuff like this, my mother-in-law has never let us have a babysitter. If she asks her mom, can you watch our kids while we go here or go there? And her mom says, no, I got something to do, I'm busy, I'm tied up. She'll say, okay, don't worry about it. I'll just hire a babysitter offline. Her mom will immediately say, no, you won't. I'll be there. Because she is scared to death of something happening to her grandson from a stranger, and rightfully so. So it's like, if that is your only option, then you have to try to put whatever food safes you can in place to try to minimize something happening. It's still not 100% guaranteed that nothing's gonna happen, but it gives you your best chance. And this is something that you have to think about, and this is something that we don't really process a lot of times. And it's important, because if you are a parent, you have a responsibility. And this is unfortunate that this happened. And I thank God that the young lady made it out, that she made it to the police station to be able to go through the process. Because if that was my child, she wouldn't have a judge and a jury. And so this could have turned into two people losing their life. And you have to think about that as well. When you get ready to leave your child with somebody, you got to realize, like, what is going to happen to you emotionally and mentally if something happens to your child. And it has to be made known. And in our world, we live in a world where there are no foolproof strategies. Anything could happen at any time. So we have to be very diligent and vigilant about the protection, because I've worked with individuals who their biological father did something to them. Their stepfather, their mother, their uncle, their aunt, their grandfather, their grandmother. I just was watching the other day where a grandmother took the life of her full-grown grandson. And just offed them. And then called the police and said, called 911 and said, my grandson. And so you got to think about that and really process that anything can happen. So you have to know that you know, and you got to be mindful. And the crazy thing about it, the unfortunate thing about it is that you can't even be 100% with your father, with your mother. Like, that's the crazy thing about it, is like, humans are human. And with the child's other parent, like, humans are human. And it's just, because I remember when my first son was little, it was a lot of days that I'm like, whoa, man, how am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to get through this? And I'm thinking and processing, like, man, what if that was somebody else? Like, this my son, and I'm about to lose it. Like, what if this was somebody else? Oh, my goodness. And you got to process that and realize that this thing is a gamble. And so my heart goes out. Man, I hope they put that lady under the prison. I hope they put her under the prison. Like, she need to do at least 20 years. I ain't trying to hear no 10 years and all of that. She need to do at least 20 years. Because that's just crazy. That is an insane amount of entitlement. And this what I try to tell y'all too, is like, sometimes you be dating somebody and that person don't really care for you. That person is actually jealous of the space that your child holds in your life. And they want to compete with your child. And they want you to do less for your child so that you could do more for them. And they see the toll and the tax and the time that your child takes, that your child requires, and they want to have them out the way. And there are grown men and women who will tell their boyfriend or their girlfriend, do less for your child. You don't need to see your child that much. Your child don't need to be over here all the time. And literally, this happened in probably 70-80% of relationships where the new person is jealous of the child that somebody already got. And in this case, this lady decided she was going to do something about it and take this baby life. And she probably thinking she going to get out on some type of at-home probation and that the woman going to forgive her. And as crazy as relationships are, I don't put it past this lady to forgive this lady and for them to stay together. I don't put it past them. I don't put it. Crazy, stranger things have happened. And we got to realize and understand this thing. This right here is just, this is heartbreaking. So to all of you parents, single parents, you need to be mindful of this. And you need to be very vigilant about your children and who is around them and who watching them. And you got to be able, if you've already had people around your children, babysitting your children, if your child could talk, you need to be able to create a safe space to say, hey, you know, such and such is watching you, and I want to ask you, like, do you feel safe with them? If they say no, that probably means it's something more that they need to tell you but don't want to tell you. And yes, there will be some children who just make stuff up and they lie and they want to get every babysitter fired. But it's better to be safe than sorry. And just whoever it is that your child is comfortable with, and it may be they like this person because they get donuts and they get cookies. But guess what? It's better for them to get donuts and cookies and get to break their curfew than for something else to be happening to them. So you got to pick your poison and make sure that you are creating a safe environment, because this could also cost you your freedom. So where now your child not only went through what they went through at the hands of this babysitter, whoever it may be, friend, family, or stranger, but now they lose their parent because of you losing it on this person. And that's very real. That's very real. So you got to think about this and really make sure that you're doing what need to be done. But hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. Make sure you visit wealthofhealth.com, pre-order your elderberry gummies. Got the new vitamins coming out soon. This is a pre-order, so it'll be on the way to you. You pre-ordering it. Still got to get everything in, packaged, shipped, and all of that. So God bless you. We'll talk soon.